Safety Committee meeting. And I just got to say, it's lovely to be able to see you all in a moderately sized space. So that's a plus. We're going to hear from some public speakers, I hear. Why don't we start with that? Safety announcement first.
Yeah, today we
Your
have...
safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Public speakers?
Yes, we have 5 public speakers today. One is here, 1 present, and 4 remote. Our first speaker will be Jason Anthony, followed by Marty Buchis.
Good morning, General. Good morning, Jerry, Demetrius, Raffrey, and the rest of the board members. Jason Anthony, the transit guru for 2nd month. Let's remind ourselves about safety. It is lovely to hear the audible announcements, but let's have a bit of visual, just like our friends across the Hudson, despite the fact that between us, they moved to a new facility, but that's another discussion for another day. But I've been using the system like every native New Yorker, every single day. But every weekend, when I go from my home station, Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center, to the place of employment, that is Richmond County, for the past couple of years, I don't see police presence. Even though that has been brought up to discussion throughout various MTA leadership and various NYPD leadership, it falls into deaf ears. I don't know for what reason. And we're talking about, I depart from my house at 4 in the morning. And I don't know what's going on with Transit 32 in Brooklyn, that I don't see NYPD officers at that time in the morning. And we're talking about Saturdays and Sundays. I could see them during the day, but overnight, that's not the case. And I could see homeless people all the time. Let's do something this year, 2025.
Thank you. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. Also, in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. Our next speaker is Marty Buchis, followed by Christopher Greif.
Thank you, Chris. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you.
I guess that's a yes. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Matty W. Buchis Highland, and I'm an advocate for people with disabilities. For safety today, I do have some concerns in relation. It's good to see that crime trends are low, but on January 25th, I was at on the M9 Long Island Railroad on the Ronkonkoma line, coming home from a New York Islanders game, even though I'm a Columbus Blue Jackets fan. My concern was at the Farmingdale station, there were two guys smoking inside the waiting room. And I did had concerns. I was almost close to calling the MTA police just to check on these guys, make sure they were okay, because um, I'm concerned about them. I know Jerry Bringman, the chair of the Commuter Council for the longer, said that in cases like this, the waiting rooms have to be open in extreme cold or extreme heat. So we got to make sure that they're okay for their own safety. And ladies and gentlemen, crime is like cutting weeds, as Joe Biden used to say. It's not the Jerry Springer show, it's the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. So with that being said, folks, please have a great day and God bless you. Chris, I'll send it back over to you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Mary Bowden.
Good morning, everyone. This is Christopher D. Greif, ADA Accessibility President of Transportation. Here as we're discussing about the safety, and the safety is very important to us as well. First, I do want to thank our NYPD, MTA police, always there. I did see them at nights on the train. It's great to see them on the train at very late nights, but we still need to work on the safety of homeless at some of the stations. As I do put this onto the My MTA app and concern of the complaints and put them in. But at the same time, we do need to work on the Department of Mental Health and making clear that there is safety for accessibility for seniors and people with disability. We need to do that not just on the subways, but on the railroads as well. And I'm not just mentioning Long Island Railroad, as well as Metro North and everywhere that relates to the MTA. One thing we want to be very clear that we want to make sure we work together and try to keep people to understand that the train stations is not a bed, it's not their personal bathrooms, but we do need to have, access to the train, access to the station, access to the elevators. I have put these in so many times, but I just hope this year we have more safety for seniors and people with disabilities, our baby strollers, and our veterans. Thank you, everyone. Have a great morning.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mary Bowden, followed by Malim Vergara.
Murray Boychik, you out there?
Mary Bowden? We'll go to our next speaker. That's Malim Vergara. Mary Bowden or... Okay. Mary Bowden, are you there? Last call. Chair Lieber, that concludes today's public speaking portion of the committee meeting. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm sure we will hear from Mr. Bowden again sometime in the future. Traditions don't die easy. First of all, I'm going to ask for approval. I would ask for approval minutes, but I'm not sure we have a quorum. We do now have a quorum. God bless Mark Herbst. Approval of the minutes. Are there any minutes have been distributed for the November 2024 committee meeting? Any comments or corrections? Mr. Albert. Hearing none, the minutes are approved as distributed. The work plan. Mr. Heyman, are we on any changes to the work plan?
No changes. Chair, we'd like to ask that the 2025 work plan starts on page 16 of the book, and we ask that you request approval.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to call for a vote on the, do I have to vote for the approval? Yes. Have a vote on approval. So all in favor of the work plan as portrayed on page 16? All in favor? Any opposition or abstention? The work plan is approved. Would you go through the safety and security metrics, Carl?
Great, thank you, Chair Lieber, and good morning. Our key metrics start on page 18. I'm pleased to report that overall safety and security metrics across the operating agencies continue on a positive trend. Before we go to New York City Transit's presentation, I'd like to take a minute to highlight some of the progress made by the other agencies as a result of the great work being done by the safety departments and agencies' operating teams. For Metro North Railroad, the reportable customer injury rate decreased by 30.5% in the current 12-month reporting period. Their reportable employee lost time injury rate also improved, decreasing by 17%. Long Island Railroad's reportable customer injury rate also decreased by 30% over the same period, and their reportable employee lost time injury rate saw improvement, decreasing by 7.6%. At Bridges and Tunnels, we continue to see a positive trend in reducing overall collisions and those resulting in injuries. For the past year, overall collisions decreased by 11.6%, while collisions with injuries dropped significantly by 25.8%. Lastly, major crime continues to be down, and the most recent 28 days sees a reduction of nearly 23% within the subway system. These results highlight our continuous focus on enhancing safety across the agencies and the effects of strong collaborations with all of our stakeholders. Now, as I turn to New York City Transit to present their safety highlights and agency safety plans, I would like to first officially welcome both John Sterrett as the SVP for Safety at Bridges and Tunnels, and Brian Lapp as the SVP of Safety and Security at New York City Transit to the Safety Committee. So welcome to both of you. And Brian, if you could take it away.
Thank you, appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today and present to you a summary of the work New York City Transit has done to continue to lower our employee lost time accidents over the last 2 years. Next slide, please. As you can see here on the slide, New York City Transit has been able to lower employee lost time accidents substantially, starting on the left in early 2023 and concluding on the right side in December of 2024. You can see a real steady shift downwards starting in early 2024 and carrying through the year with both bus and subways employees. Next slide, please. Digging into the numbers reflected in the previous slide's graph, New York City Transit has lowered our lost time accident rate by 21% combined between buses and subways, and this rate is calculated based on a lost time accidents per 100 employees. These statistics are a direct representation of our collaboration and key initiatives implemented by bus and subway staff at every level. Next slide, please. Breaking down the data a bit more into the top lost time types, starting with subways. Slips, trips, and falls continue to be the #1 event that leads to a lost time accident, followed by alleged/actual collisions with individuals' trauma and physical assaults. As you can see on the far right, each of the top 3 events have seen decreases year over year, the biggest one being physical assaults decreasing by 28%. Next slide, please. I want to highlight a few key initiatives in subways that have had a positive impact on reducing lost time accidents. Utilizing data, we conduct trend analyses to identify areas in which we need to focus resources and implement mitigations. De-escalation training has been a program that we have seen a lot of success with as well, specifically giving our employees the tools they need to mitigate negative and/or aggressive interactions before they become physical. Next slide, please. Moving on to the Department of Buses. The top 3 events that led to a lost time accident in 2024 were motor vehicle accidents, followed by physical assaults and slip, trips, and falls. All 3 have shown substantial decreases year over year, with physical assaults having the biggest one of these, down 24%. Next slide, please. Some initiatives on the bus side that have been impactful to lowering lost time accidents are shown here. The first initiative, bus enclosures for operators, is a notable one. Creating an enclosure so that they can focus on operating the bus safely while being protected from potential physical encounters is a top priority. Again, as in subways, we have seen that de-escalation training enhances a very important skill for our employees when dealing with aggressive and/or potentially physical individuals. Next slide. The Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, or PTASP, annual update and review for the departments of subways and buses has been successfully completed and submitted to the MTA Board of Directors for approval. This comprehensive effort, which includes the review and approval of the plans by the Joint Labor and Management Safety Committee, ensures our continued adherence to federal regulations, reinforces our commitment to a culture of safety, and identifies key focus areas within our transit operations. The updated plans reflect our dedication to enhancing passenger and employee safety while maintaining the highest standards of service. I ask for this committee to recommend that they be advanced to the full board for approval. Thank you very much for your time today.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Albert?
Thank you, Brian, for that report. When can we expect of the majority of bus enclosures to be in place? Will it be by the end of 2025, or?
Buses currently have the enclosures now. Different buses, obviously, there's different makes, models, years.
Yeah.
So they're not all exactly the same, but they are all in place, and continued future procurements will also be included.
And the new buses that we've ordered will come with them in place already, or?
I believe so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what we're moving from is we have an enclosure which is designed to protect. We've installed these on all of our buses now because we got to protect the bus operator from this emerging problem, all kinds of stuff. But all of the new buses are going to have these cockpits, which are really enclose them as if they're, airline pilots or in a cab, in effect, like a train operator in a cab. That's the purpose. Demetrius, am I getting this right?
They're full enclosures, and the capital plan has, I don't remember the exact, I could get you the exact number, but the capital plan coming up has the new version.
For those buses that are not being done away with in the immediate future, will they be retrofitted with the same kind of?
Everything has already been retrofitted, everything that we have.
The current buses have enclosures. They come up a certain height, but you can, throw something up and over the enclosure.
Yeah.
But this would be a full enclosure, top to bottom and to the side.
Okay. I just want to note that the importance of the reduction in lost time, the injuries and the reduction in employee assaults, which is something that everybody is dramatically concerned about. That's positive progress. We got to be very vigilant on this. And, the labor representatives on this board are here from the two railroads. The transit labor representatives not here, but I hope, Demetrius, that you're able to work with the labor folks at Local 100 and our ATU partners at MTA Bus and otherwise to make sure that we're pushing forward with an even safer environment for our workforce. With that, I think you're asking for a motion to move this forward to the board. Did I get this correctly?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Herbst has made a motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Lopez. All in favor? Any opposition or abstention? The item is approved and moved forward for full board approval. So thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Amon.
And that concludes our meeting.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, a little abrupt. I just want to make sure that everyone's had a chance to. There's so much work going on in this area. I mean, particularly in the area of employee safety and eliminating attacks on employees. There was a cleaner who got attacked last night, and Demetrius and I have been in touch about it. There's a member of management with them right now, correct? We have to do everything possible to make sure that these folks, whoever they are, some of them are mental health cases, but they have to be pushed back, kept out of the system. It is one of the issues that we are raising with the legislature this year, that people who attack MTA employees, that the felony that is on the books for an attack on an MTA employee should be pursued through the criminal justice system. Too often, it's knocked down to a misdemeanor, and misdemeanors are not prosecuted right now. There are a lot of reasons. We're trying to fight that issue along with the governor's team and many others. But we have to make sure that our employees are not subject to attack while they're just doing their job. That is a top priority. So with that, any other comments or questions on any of this? I urge everybody to take a look at this agency safety plan for New York City Transit because it reflects a ton of work, and it's got to be a priority. So everybody, please take a look if you haven't been able to review it fully, okay? And we have ones as well for each of the railroads, and those are super important as well. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to Ms. Soren. We note that the quorum is enriched by the presence of Lisa Soren. But you make the motion to re-adjourn for yourself. Thank you, Ms. Lopez, for the second. Any opposition, censure? We are in adjournment. Thank you.